Not much since last week. A lot of my creative time has been going to messing with my MIDI sequencer. I had a dream with a really cool song, and I'm trying to recreate the song from the dream in MIDI, and I'm not very good at it, so it's fun, but I don't know if anybody else will ever even hear it because I don't know if I'm any good. But it's fun to mess with that stuff. So that's where a lot of my creative time has gone. And also, my kiddo, I took him to Joann Fabric a month ago, maybe longer, and let him pick out a bunch of cloth. And since school's starting again in a few weeks, I just realized how much I'm using my hands. I don't usually use my hands this much when I speak normally. I'm just doing it for interest in the videos. And sometimes I watch the videos and it's like, why was I doing that? So I decided to start making these shirts for the kiddo, and I finally settled on which shirt pattern I wanted to make, but then I decided to do it right and trace it off instead of what I usually do, which is cut out the largest size in the pattern and like pin along the lines of the smaller size I want to use and try to cut along that so I can preserve the whole thing because he's growing and I know I'm going to need the larger sizes. But so I got that traced off last night, but I haven't actually made the shirt yet. So that's where other non-doll time went. I did do a little doll sewing. The Monster High Kala Mary that I thrifted last week, I wanted to give her something more than just that tube top she was still wearing. And I had this cloth. I went through my cloth to see if anything appropriate for her. I would love to have made something with like a squid print for her, but I didn't have anything with a squid print that I know of. At least not where I looked. But I had these two prints that were Susan cloth that it seems like as soon as I saw these two pieces, I said, hey, those will go really well together. You see this one? Thinking about it, not only are the colors pretty good for Kala, but this one is kind of inky. You know, octopus and squid ink. And this one, again, not only the colors correct, the colors, you know, this sort of corally orange like the stripes in her hair, and with a dark blue outline on things like her rest of her hair, and yellow and sort of a bright blue green like her irises. And I know this is a very traditional kind of floral, but you could almost say it could be stylized squid too. Almost, maybe. So my first thought was I would make a shirt dress for her and have it be open in front, completely all the way up and down in front, so I wouldn't have to wrangle it over her tentacles. But I got sidetracked. I couldn't decide which side I wanted. If I wanted this to be the skirt or this to be the skirt. I mean, there's obviously a lot more of this than this, and I have sewn something out of it, so there's even less than it was to begin with. And yes, I'm rambling because I don't have much to talk about this week. But in the process of trying to figure out how I wanted things arranged in the shirt dress, I decided instead I would just make a shirt. So since she is a little bit larger than normal Monster High bodies, I got the Blythe pattern. And honestly, I think this shirt might be big enough to fit Barbie. I haven't tried it on her, but this is what I ended up with. See, it has a yoke and a pleat in the back, and I do like it, but I think it looks like she's ready to go bowling. And the only reason that bothers me is because I feel like if this is a bowling shirt, then I need to like make the same shirt for 3 or 4 other dolls, however many people are on a bowling team, but I don't have enough of it for that. So I might still use what's left to make a proper dress for her, or I might go with my original inclinations and paint over these so they're not yellow anymore, because yellow is not something I have a lot of and a lot that coordinates with. And maybe do something about these streaks in her hair, because also orangey colors, peachy colors, apricot-y colors, whatever you call this, it's not quite all the way to coral. It's not like pink enough to be coral. Of course, most of my color names come from the set of crayons, Crayola crayons that I grew up with, you know, in the 80s. So I don't know some of the colors that I think the colors I identify are what the actual colors are, but this reminds me of apricot from the old Crayola sets. Anyway, not really a color that I'm into that much either. It's a lovely color though. I mean, I do like this print. So I might airbrush her tentacles another color. I don't know if I know John sometimes just flat out removes hair colors that he doesn't like. Just like, I think he trims them down really short and then shoves them back into the head. I don't think I've tried that. So I don't know if I could do that with her, if I would have to put another color in, or if there would be enough with the blue that it wouldn't really show. And yeah, I did put a little bit of foam up here. Just make her more squid shaped. And I might use magic eraser to take this off. I haven't decided yet. I think the least that I was going to do was paint over her eyes so they would look more like cephalopod eyes. Because if you ever looked at octopus or squid eyes, they're not quite arranged like mammal eyes. So there are things I might still do with this doll, or I might not, because I know that she's not the most common doll, but she's not uncommon. She was mass-produced. So I shouldn't let that keep me from customizing because other people still have theirs. So that was her. And then I still want to make a video of me sewing things, including that high-waisted dress that I share the pattern for. But the first video I want to make is of me sewing the jumpsuit that I share the pattern for. And the kiddo goes back to school in about 3 weeks, so I feel like it'd be a little better to wait until he's back at school so I can just babble at the camera for a longer time with the door open so the cats can come and go without interrupting me. And I'm surprised they're not banging on the door now. So I wanted to sew a jumpsuit just to refresh myself on how to do it. And also I wanted to try the jumpsuit for a while with shorter sleeves and shorter legs. And this is what we ended up with. Again, this is like the only yellow stuff. I do have a few bracelets. I actually was thinking about heating her arm up so I could take the hand out so I could put Kyla's yellow bracelet on her arm, but I decided that was too much trouble. This is a sticker. It's like slightly hard enamel sticker. I like using those for pins on Barbie clothes. And then this is just a piece of cloth that I cut specifically because I wanted to pop a yellow at the waist too, but and I should add pockets to this. I'm trying to remember to add pockets to like skirts that I sew for myself more, and I really should add more pockets to doll clothes. Some for another time. Anyway, so I made this and it has a little bit of elastic in the back to try to give it some fit. And so hopefully soon I have tried to make a video of me making one of these full jumpsuits before, but I had the idea that I could just record the video with my normal room noise, like listening to the radio and singing along, whatever I was doing, and kiddo in the background listening to stuff, YouTube. But when it came time to do the voiceover, I never got around to it, and I think I accidentally deleted the source file. So I will try again with me just talking while I'm sewing and recording that. So I thought that would be all I had to talk about this week. But then I stopped at the post office and got a squishy package from Tiffy. I knew this was coming. I didn't know it was coming that soon. Thanks. She thrifted some cloth, mainly to get a brick print, which is really great, like 6-scale brick print. I got some of it years ago from Joann Fabric. One of the few times I've ever ordered cloth online. And I still have some of it. I have also used it to make backdrops for dolls because it's a really nice 6-scale brick print. So she got that bag of cloth for the brick print, but there were other prints in there. And she said, hey, anybody want any of this? And I said, oh, there's one that I might like. And she said, well, I'm glad that you liked it because I am absolutely sending you this. Which, as she mentioned, for some reason has been sewn into a tube. But this is going to go with all the other doll cloth, but it should be interesting to use details. Because sometimes I make the dresses, when I used to sell on Etsy, I called these the wink dresses. Because I don't know if my Etsy logo was a doll's Ahoy and there was a winking face in the middle of it. And of course, quick as a wink, because these are really easy, simple A-line dresses that took me so little time to make. I put them up for like $5 each. But they were fun because I could take a really loud print like this and just take parts of it out and make dresses. I'm just not sure if this face might not be so abstract that it will cease to be a face. When it's that small. And I will say honestly, when she showed me this online, the pictures of this cloth online, okay, for one thing, I didn't realize it sparkled. It sparkled. And for another thing, and I'm still seeing it that way, I didn't realize those were eyes. I thought those were nostrils. I thought their hair was covering their eyes, but I guess they're actually teeny tiny beaded eyes. So, or maybe I'll take a permanent marker and draw better eyes over those if I make a dress. But yes, can definitely use the details on this to make dresses. You know, you can do it on the sides too, like at an angle. Again, I'm just talking to be talking, but maybe it will help you think about how to use stuff. Like if you have really obnoxious loud print that you don't know what to do with it, you think it's too big for dolls. It's not necessarily too big for dolls if you think of the details as sub-prints. I don't know if that even made any sense what I just said, but the other thing, it's only too big for dolls if you're trying to make your doll clothes super realistic. And we all know that super realistic is not what I go with my dolls. I mean, so I can have fun with a loud print like this, making tiny, tiny doll clothes. Not that I don't have 8,000 other things I want to sew first. And this is a nice paisley. I have a small collection of paisleys. I could probably actually make a quilt out of just paisleys that people have given me. I might. This looked to me like something the kiddo might like. Actually, ooh, that shirt for him that I haven't made yet, it needs a contrast print, and this might be better than the one I had picked out. So you take a 9-year-old in to pick out his own cloth, and he picks out stuff like this. And he wants a shirt made out of this. And I'm going to make a shirt for him out of this. But I had just sort of a mottled, vaguely fern-like green to use as contrast. But I think that this is a much better print to contrast with this. I'll just have to wash it first. Oh no, that'll make me have to take another day or so before I can start sewing the shirt. Yeah, I have only been procrastinating sewing this shirt for a month and a half now, so you know. And we couldn't figure out why this was cut out of the center of it. My first thought was that somebody had cut, you know, an applique in the most inefficient place possible. But then I was starting to wonder if maybe it was draped over something. Sometimes you get thrifted cloth and you look at what's cut and what's left and you wonder what people were doing. But I have a feeling the cloth that I've cut doll clothes out of, people would look at and have the same reaction. But at least I cut my doll clothes from the edge of the cloth, not dead center. And that's where the really cute print is. And this was the cloth that I asked for, because there's kind of a project I wanted to do for many, many, many years. I don't know if I'll ever actually do it, but I need a good small yellow plaid. The Target plaid is actually yellow with black and red, but this'll work. The scale's about right. And then a very sweet floral in purples and pinks, so you know it will be used. And now that's all I had to talk about this week. I said the kiddo goes back to school in a few weeks, so I will be able to go back to the thrift store then, but really don't need to thrift. I need to create with what I have, and I need to try to do what I did last week, which is make one or two things between making the big things, which I haven't even made yet. But, oh, it's also my birthday this week. I'm not begging for happy birthday things. It's just of note that I'm older and I have no problem with it. Have a good day.